I've come to find that like I've really started to appreciate like just life in general, and then trying to translate that into like images and words, and it's part of the fuel that kind of like drives the creative process. My name is Kennard and I'm an entertainment designer. I mean I would like to say that, I've been like drawing for like forever since a young age, but I kind of look back towards the time in SJI, the moment that kind of like kick-started a lot of this process of learning and really trying to grow my craft. I have a lot to be thankful for. So like I would say within the art studio, first of all, definitely a lot of the relationships that I forged both with my teachers and peers, and in general a lot of the memories I have would be of the kind of like feeding off the creativity and the different domains that everybody kind of excelled at. I would remember coming back multiple days a week, even during like holidays and stuff. There was definitely a lot of like late days and sort of time and like hours spent working through our craft. That interaction and that relationship really added to like the experience within the art program and even within the art studio. That in itself gave me like a lot of chance and opportunity to like learn. I'm thinking back to moments of growth, and I think a lot of that happened while I was in SJI. If there's one thing that I think really stuck with me having left SJI would be that feeling of being part of almost like a second family, knowing that you can always like fall back onto the people around you, and then everybody just trying to find their way to like make the best of like the different situations that everybody's in. Looking back, I think a lot of that drive or the effort that I'm willing to put into it, I think comes from my background as an athlete. I think there is a certain expectation I place on myself, and having been in a position where you're expected to push and perform week after week, that for sure has been pretty instrumental, I think, in how I approach the work that I do right now. The biggest part of like my memory comes from like that couple of seconds right before you're called into position. So you're standing in a line, and then it's almost like a moment of like silence in some sense inside your head, where everything comes down to that one singular moment, from the moment the gun fires, and then it really just go. A lot of the time I've spent in training has been quite crucial in sort of establishing like the groundwork for what it means to work hard. I think that has kind of shaped how I approach the work that I do right now, and that kind of drive, like for sure, it definitely like carries over. It's kind of be almost like a staple of what I've come to expect of myself in terms of like the training and learning that I put into my craft. A big part of just designing in general for entertainment, an exciting part of that comes from like wearing the different hats. I really enjoy like designing environments. I definitely look to a lot of like architects or like building designs that exist within the real world to draw influences from. A lot of inspiration also comes from creative content that has come before me. Movies and books and cinematic worlds, so things like Lord of the Rings, right, comes to mind. That kind of like rich narrative and history and story that comes along with that. I'll throw back to like when I was first starting. I think I was definitely inspired by a lot of like the artists that were kind of like creating the same thing. I kind of felt was like really cool and like stuff I wanted to do in the future. There's like Feng Zhu, like Noah Bradley, and then right now I'm looking at like other artists like within the field, even like companies that I want to work for. So like Naughty Dog with the like Last of Us games, that kind of like rich cinematic, narrative-driven games. I would say as a sort of like creative person, you're always striving for like that 100%. You're like never really satisfied with the things you create. The only thing that can provide like that kind of like sort of satisfaction or that sort of anticipation would be the thinking of what comes next. or like how I can continue to improve, and you're on like this never-ending journey to fix the holes. You know, you plug this and then you fill that gap up, and then like more holes started appearing. It's definitely never-ending for sure. At least for me, I think a big part of like designing or even just coming out with like new novel ideas or like a fresh way or like a fresh take on things, right? Interesting, engaging design that's like new and novel. Being able to achieve that, I think, comes from sort of the amalgamation of like experiences that you have. So that would come in the form of really just going out into the world and making full use of the spaces and the places that are around me. So things that would come to mind, a lot of like galleries, exhibitions, even things outside of the realm of like art making, right? So going for a especially like curated meal, a dinner, or like having coffee at a well thought out like location, all that kind of like feeds back into the work I create, because I think you really never know when the next like new or fresh idea is, or like what it will look like. So I'm just trying to give myself as many opportunities to create that as possible. I think going back to like that learning process, it is still never ending. I think that there's definitely still a lot to learn and get better at. First goal is, and always will be, to just keep getting better. Definitely more skills that I want to learn, things I want to polish up, to get better at solving problems in general, right? Which is really what I am all about. Studios and projects that I hope to be a part of in the future. Working on the next big title, the next big game, you know, being eventually able to see my work on like the big screen. That has always been a huge part of like what drives me, and to create something that, you know, I can continue to be like proud of. You know, the work will continue to become an even more accurate representation of who I am as a person, as a designer, drawing from the wealth of experiences that I will hopefully continue to live and experience. So I guess looking forward, you know, I really hope to be able to continue to create and hopefully inspire in any shape, way or form, to excite and entertain. So if I were to look back and think about words or experiences or like lines I would say to myself starting on this journey, I would say it really is a long process. I think there's no other way to put it, and the only thing you can do is to keep pushing, to keep progressing. You don't have to expect like a ton of like ups and downs, but going back to that whole attitude of progressing and getting better, as long as the trend is upwards, I think you can have some sort of like contentment or like a reassurance that you're heading in the right direction. If anything, I think I would just tell myself to keep pushing, continue to be inspired by the spaces and the world around me, develop unique and fresh solutions and perspective on ideas to challenge conventions. Yeah, the journey really is never ending.
Hello, and thanks for watching this short film. I actually filmed an outro with Kennard earlier today, but the sound was pretty bad, so I'm just gonna record this again. I mentioned I've been working on a couple of big videos, and this is definitely one of them. When I was talking to Kennard, I realized that I spent about 100 hours for this whole video, from pre-production to filming and editing. So that's quite mad, especially because I had to do everything by myself. So just for context, I knew Kennard since secondary school in SGI, and we were both on the track team together. And since then, he's been kind of doing his own art thing, and now he studies in the US doing entertainment design. Kennard's been back for a while in Singapore, so I thought why not just take a chance to build a project with him, so that in the next 3 to 5 years we can kind of see where we're at in terms of our creative journeys, for him his artwork and for me my videos. I've always shared his artwork on Instagram, and I mean my wallpaper is also his work. So if you could, do check out his work, and I'll put the links down below. The concept of this video was that you can take the less conventional route in terms of career in Singapore. I think there's a lot of anxiety when it comes to not taking on a very typical business or finance job, so people like Kennard do inspire me, and I hope it inspires you too. Do let me know what you think about this video, and I'll probably create another one talking about how I filmed this and Kennard's initial reaction to this video. Kennard's also flying back to the US next week, so thanks man for being a part of this project with me. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So don't forget to like this video, share it if you can, and if you haven't, do subscribe as well. I do appreciate every single one of you for watching this video to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.